Always. Always figuring out the camera angles.
Yes.
Okay. Sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our channel as we are still learning how to go live. I'm Jayme. This is Kat. And we are the New Witch Academy of Modern Magic. Just trying to bring you some, witchcraft lessons and comedy. And this summer series, I sort of officially named it today, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, it's going to be called the Summer Series because we're not doing the meetups until the fall, August. And so I'm naming them. I thought about how would it be to, if you've seen one and you want to come back, like how do you know they can't all just be called A Witch Reacts, which is what we are doing tonight. A Witch Reacts to random stuff off the internet. So they're now labeled just episode 1, 2, probably, I was trying to think of how many we might have, like 15, 16, because in a 3-month period, maybe.
Yeah.
And today is a different time. It is Wednesday, and that is because my sweet, sweet little sister is getting married, and we're going to be really busy tomorrow because her wedding's on Friday. So that is why we're here on Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here, and we hope that you find things that you like, things that are funny, because we want to laugh. Like I think part of it is learning and laughing. What do you think?
If we didn't say it, if we didn't say it, I'm Kat. It's Jayme.
Yes, Kat and Jayme. Daughter, 25 years of practicing, and mom who is 4 years in.
4 years.
4 years in.
4 years hardcore.
The quick path.
Before that, it was dabbling since I was, loved horoscopes since I was young.
And tarot.
Yeah,
a little bit of numerology, maybe.
I've always been interested in the dark side.
Oh, because she's a Scorpio.
It's my Scorpio nature.
Her Scorpio nature is like, come to the dark side. Okay, so tonight we are reacting to 4 things that we found online, and we're surprising each other. So this is first reactions on, she has a couple things, and then I have a couple things. I'm gonna let you go first because you're holding the cards. You look all ready.
I'm ready. I made notes.
Okay.
Hopefully it comes out. Okay. So 2 things I saw on the internet this week that witches asked for guidance, help, whatever. I'm not going to read what people said. I'm just going to read you the question. The first one was, oh no, I broke a mirror. And the text was kind of like panic mode. What do I do to protect myself?
Oh, no.
And all that stuff. So,
that's awesome.
Okay. So I think there's a superstition about you have 7 years of bad luck.
Yeah.
If you break a mirror, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's
what I've heard. Is it written anywhere? I mean,
I don't know. I just think I've always known it. I don't know what you guys have ever heard about broken mirrors, but I've always heard 7 years bad luck.
Yeah. If you have a different thing, or if you know where this comes from, 7 years of bad luck from breaking a mirror.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat because
tell us about it.
I don't know. I just heard it. It's like it's an old wives' tale passed down, so it's some kind of superstition.
Okay, so the first thing my reaction to this is it's a superstition and it's fear-based thinking. And so to turn that around, since you're on your new witch journey, which I'm kind of thinking everybody's kind of a new witch here because that's who we are, New Witch Academy, right?
Yes.
So here's a way, in my view anyway, and I'm a newer witch, that you can handle a broken mirror. Okay, so one is to express gratitude to the mirror for all the things it has done for you. Recycle if you can, and then go out and buy yourself a beautiful mirror. And don't ever again think about 7 years bad luck if you break a mirror, because that is an old wives' tale / superstition, like so many of the things that we hear about, myths, whatever you want to call them. Also, my last tip for that is, I believe our second. In our our beginner witch series, we cover ethics, beliefs, myths, and something else in morals. And so I think if you're like a brand new witch, that might be a good one to watch because it's about deciding what you're going to decide to believe in on this journey. And you're either going to decide to believe in, fear type things and superstitions. And my next one is a real doozy. You'll get a kick out of it when we talk about that. But you'll either decide to believe in these things or you'll decide to take on another way of, you get to decide for yourself what you believe in.
On your witchcraft practice, you're not following anybody else's rules unless you want to. The choice is truly yours. And sometimes we forget that. When we're looking for guidance as new witches, we sort of go to people that we think know more than us, that we believe know more than us, that show authority knowing more than us. I mean, I do know that I've been practicing 25 years. So the way that I practice is pretty set in stone, even though I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly trying to evolve my practice. But with things like this, you have to decide, is a broken mirror something that you should actually put energy into and be worried about? Like, was the mirror super special? Is it, there's so many things that you could dive into for understanding that thing. Or is it just because somebody told you one time? It's kind of like believing in heaven and hell. You grow up with the notions, but it's your choice whether you believe that exists, that's what happens after we die. So picking and choosing your beliefs and practices.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. You next.
Yeah. All right. I love this one because when we did our last course of the Beginner Witch series, Connecting with Spirit Guides, we went over signs. And this is probably one of the biggest thing that I have people ask me that they don't necessarily say that they're new witches, but they're really curious. They're like, hey, so you won't believe what happened to me. I saw this thing, and they can feel it. They can feel that it's different or special, and they're looking for the meaning. So one of the things online was, I was driving late at night from a party, and all of a sudden I come across a huge white owl in the middle of the road. He wasn't there for prey. There was just no reason for it. She's like, I think it means something. What does it mean? Somebody help me. I need to understand this. And for signs, what I kind of consider is I have like 3 levels of what signs mean. But since this is your first time hearing it, what do you think as far as like receiving signs or having people come to you saying, what does this mean? In a witchcraft sense, right? They're not asking in like a normal sense. They're like,
well, I do think that spirits come to us in the form of animals and other things to communicate with us. So if you had somebody that is on the other side, and especially I would think someone maybe recent, you might be thinking about them, or maybe somebody that's been gone for a long time. Perhaps you're thinking about them, and so they're like going to show themselves.
Is that how you would take it if you saw something like that?
I would probably take it that way, but then the only other way it could be construed in my mind would be to break it down for what it is. So white owl in a dark night, what is that saying? You've got duality there with the light and the dark.
Yeah.
And then I would look up whatever owl represents, it's probably an air. It's probably has something to do with air because it takes flight. So, if you really wanted to like dive into it and dissect it, you could go that far, but it's really probably a spirit. And my gut tells me that it's somebody on the other side that wants to communicate with you.
Well, I love that because what I noticed in the answers that I've given and that I see people responding with is there's sort of 3 ways to understand. If you see something that's like, whoa, I'm pretty sure that was a sign, but what does it mean? So it's that first level. Here's what signs can do for you. First, they get you to acknowledge them, right? So you'll have this amazing experience and you never truly understand what it means, but all of a sudden you have a heightened awareness. So that's the first part. And then the second part is you start searching for meaning. So say you've seen several different animals and you're like, oh my gosh, I keep running across these animals. Now you go looking and searching for it. And that looking and searching actually leads you to other texts that somehow grows you, enlightens you, sends you on another path. So it's actually leading you to information. And then the third one is when you're well into your practice, you see the sign, the thing, and you're like, oh, I know exactly what that is. And it brings comfort and purpose and you know it. So that's sort of the 3 ways that as you're introduced to witchcraft, signs, connecting with spirits, whatever you consider the signs, that you sort of go through. It brings you to new knowledge, you search for meaning, and then it's a confirmation of you being on your path.
I really love that because I didn't think about the 3 levels, of like analyzing it, looking it up and all that stuff. And then
especially when you're new, it's like, when you're new,
but
you don't get straight into it.
I literally had a sign from the universe this week. I told you about this.
What?
Well,
I forgot.
So the weddings, but I was buying a wedding gift online and it was a little bit more money than I wanted to spend, but not much, like maybe $80, right? And so I'm like, so I was looking at like less expensive options and I was like, just stop being cheap. Just buy the damn thing. It's a wedding, for God's sake. Just buy the wedding present. So I go and put it in my cart.
Talk yourself into it.
I go and put it in my cart and check out. And I got a $45 coupon off of it. And I was like, universe, thank you. I knew the universe was like, you got my attention now. Because I do feel like that, because here I was, and I almost feel like it was confirmation about me sort of like kicking myself and don't be cheap, don't just,
don't think limited like that.
Yeah.
Like it's something that you want and
Yeah.
you have that, it's a fear-based thing that you're letting go of, right?
Right.
Oh, this is too much money. I'm spending too much money. Which
Yeah.
in reality, you're not. Like
reality,
you're not going to not be able to pay your bills by
Right.
doing this.
Right.
There's like reality and facts and
Yeah,
stuff, which
yeah.
is, don't overspend. But then there's also the part of you that's like, you're just so used to penny pinching that you feel like everything's
I'm frugal.
expensive.
I try to be frugal because, single woman, one income, a whole house.
And
like
she
that,
takes care of a whole dog that is, a lot. The pets can be expensive.
Right now I have grandsons, so
2
hanging
grandsons in the
around,
house.
here. So,
Okay, that was mine. You're up next. What's your
okay,
next
so
one?
all right, so you guys, broken mirror was the first one we talked about, fear and stuff. This one is really a doozy.
A lot
So
of them are fear.
the question was, a lot of them are fear, which I think is a really good reason to talk about, like, what's really the process of the mindset that you want to get into to get away from that fear, because it's kind of, once it's in you, it's hard to get away from.
It's hard to break. Well, you got to acknowledge it and then recognize it and then break it.
Yeah, and then find a way to replace it and start thinking a different way. This question was,
Hi, Tracy.
Tracy!
Hey.
Hello, so glad to see
Happy
you.
solstice.
Okay, so this one was, how do I prevent demon possession?
It always makes
literally like this was the question. Like they didn't say they were possessed by a demon. They just wanted to know, the question was posed in a group, how do I prevent demon possession? And I just was like, okay. Ooh. Well, so to the person or persons who are worried about demon possession, with love. I say this with all the love in my heart.
Oh boy, she's about to lay something on. She knows that this is not going to be a popular opinion, possibly.
Possibly not. Possibly. Maybe a little.
I wrote in the description of these lives that these are our opinions. So
okay. So first of all, I'm going to say stop watching horror movies and reading horror movies and things like that. Read something that's good for you that reinforces the belief that you want to have now, such as myself. I believe in reincarnation. I believe we're spirits. And when we die, we're spirits again, and then we come back. So a really good book for that. And I recommended it last week, and I'm going to keep recommending it. It's called Destiny of Souls, and it is about
Journey of Souls.
I'm sorry, Journey of Souls.
There is another one of Destiny of Souls.
Michael Newton, Journey of Souls. Thank you.
They're both good.
I'm listening to both at the same time.
They're both
so
good.
That's a really good one, so that you can get your mind. The idea in my mind is to stop. These are ways that we've been thinking about things for a long time in our culture.
Yeah.
They're cultural
and religion.
Yeah. Cultural and religion.
Scare tactics, fear tactics.
Yes. And so when you come to witchcraft, a lot of people come here to escape that kind of thing. But it looms out there because this is the way we've always thought. So you've got to stop doing some of the things that you used to do, maybe watching horror movies, if you do watch those, because I just don't, I never have. But anyway, I think that's not a bad idea. And then read some books about what you want to believe in, like reincarnation and spirits, and, find out if there's ghosts. Journey of Souls talks about that. And then again, I'm going to go back to to our second week of beliefs, ethics, and myths. These types of things, we don't usually get real specific when we talk about myths, especially not like demon possession. We don't think about those, but these are the things that are being put out there. And so I think
people have real conversations about it because it is truly a fear for them.
So it's like, this is a time, if you haven't already started your journal, your book of shadows, this is a good time to start doing that and deciding what you want to believe on your journey of witchcraft, because it really is a choice. You can either believe the scary stuff and live in that low level vibration of fear,
constantly doing protection stuff, constantly
always like, oh my gosh, tiptoeing around on eggshells and stuff, and not feeling like sure in your power and your spirit. You know what? There's nothing, you can't do anything wrong here because we're all just learning. Everything's just an experience to learn. So you can't do anything wrong, I guess, except live in fear.
Even living in fear has lessons. There are people who do it.
So, Yeah, so you can either get a book or do some research or stuff like that. But I think it's about deciding on what you're going to
Choice.
believe,
Power of
what
choice.
you want to believe. So
Yeah.
that was my second one.
All right. Well, I love this because I don't know why, but the Instagram algorithm has put something in front of me that I'm like, I want nothing to do with this. And for me, I find it hilarious because I actually met a person who believes in this hardcore, goes to conventions and everything.
Are you going to share what it is?
Flat earthers. Yes. It was
Flat
the
earthers.
Flat earthers. I know somebody who truly, truly believes
I don't know
that our earth is flat. He truly believes it. I know. Don't check it. See, this was me laughing last week. No, I'm
There's
serious.
like pictures of it.
No, I know.
Out in
I know.
space.
Listen, it's okay. But we have to understand that because belief is a choice, that if you want to believe in the scarier things, if you want to believe that there really is possession and exorcism and demons and that you should be afraid of all of that, it's a choice. And there's nothing, I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with that. That's just where you're going to live and stay, and that's fine. You might not have other people who gel with that. And then you'll have other people who are like on that bandwagon with you, where they're like, yeah, let's protect ourselves against demons and zombies and the apocalypse. I don't know. So it's the same thing. I can compare it to flat earthers because I met one.
Yeah, maybe.
No. So with something like possession or demons, I guess I would ask everybody to consider this question. What would be the purpose of us to come to this classroom to learn things and have something like that be a possibility? What do we gain from that? What's the growth there? What are we learning? Why would that be something on earth that's real,
A lesson
that has an effect on our growth? Just a question. You know, I don't have an answer for it because I don't think about things like that. So I like your question. I would not even be able to answer. I'd just be like, next. It's too much to get into.
Both of them.
I know you don't respond.
No, I don't respond. And the first week I was reading what people were saying. And then I was like, on these two, I was just like, yeah, that's so far out there for me anyway, that I just already know. I
think the focus, like when people get into witchcraft, I think they genuinely have goals of doing something really good and being happy and having like magic in their life. Perfect.
Yes.
Like having real spiritual experiences.
Yeah.
And then they do internet searches and there's articles and then there's Instagram or there's whatever. And slowly fear starts creeping in because all these people are like dripping little things in front of you going like, oh, well, if you don't wear purple on Fridays, there's a demon at your door or some shit like that. There's just things that you start hearing and you're like, well, I don't know anything.
Don't ever do this. Whatever ritual, spell, or something it is.
Okay.
On a new moon.
Right. Another good thing to point out is like, Kat and we're not hex people. We're like, we don't do hexes. We don't really believe in them. We're like, I think it's energy that everybody needs to work through. And there are other witches who they write whole ass books on this subject. They have lots of videos and stuff, and because they believe in that, and that's a tool they use, and that's totally fine. But you're never going to hear us talk about it because it's not in my flat earth. It doesn't exist in my earth. That's a joke. I do not believe the earth is flat.
Okay.
All right. My second question is, so I have two. I'm trying to decide because one was a whole story about a girl, and I'm going to choose hers.
We have 10 minutes.
Bad relationship. Here's the premise. Bad relationship. The person is snaky, abusive, and everything is done behind closed doors. And the person is still in the friend group. And it's like, how do I warn people? How do I protect them? Like, I'm doing protection spells. I do believe in karma, but I want justice now. Her focus is really trying to affect change on somebody else's life.
Was this two girlfriends?
No, I mean, she didn't say guy, but it was just a person
in her life.
Not it was a relationship. She didn't say it like that.
Yeah.
But just the snakiness, the deceptiveness. But what really got me about what she said was, it seems like he's been blessed or charmed to where he never gets caught. He gets away with everything. And I want to bring him to justice. And that's what really got me, because I thought, we do sometimes when people get into witchcraft, one of the things that they really want to do is cause things on other people. I mean, speaking of hexes and whatever, it's like you want to stop other people. You want to protect other people. Like, it's for others. It's not always for yourself. And it's a good time to think about, is the witchcraft that you do, is the spells that you do, is the work that you do, are you doing this to affect other people outside of your life? Or are you really doing this to grow yourself? Because ultimately, our control is only for ourselves. It's just with us. We can do all the things that we want to do. And, one of my biggest advices to her was stand your ground in what you believe. And like, if you believe this person is bad and your friends don't believe you, walk away. You need limit your interactions because you do know. So if you keep putting yourself in there and going like, well, everybody else is going to this party and he's going to be there. And I'm like, no, don't go. Stand your ground so people can see that you're really serious about what you believe. Like your conviction should be that strong to where you may want to go to the party, the gathering, the barbecue. But if he's there, you'd be like, I'm not going because he's there. And I know that he's bad news and I don't want to be anywhere around it. Even if he's doing nothing in public, it's all behind closed door stuff. It's like, if you knew, let's take it to the extreme. If you knew that somebody was possibly molesting children, would you still go to a barbecue where they're at? Even if you warned everybody like they shouldn't do it, think about what control you truly have. Like reporting to the authorities, obviously, all of the regular stuff, what they call the mundane work. Fill out complaints, do whatever you can in our regular real world. But spiritually, you need to protect and guard yourself. And you cannot hold yourself responsible for what happens with other people if they don't listen to what you have to say. That's their own journey. So sometimes it's really us separating our journey from others' journeys. We can't tell them what to do. We can't control them. We can't always protect them. We don't get that say-so because we're only in control of our journey. And sometimes in witchcraft, we're led to believe that we can just affect everybody else anytime we, wave our wands. Mm-hmm. And my belief is that that's just not true. The biggest thing is to keep your energy close, protect yourself, try to help others away from the situation if they're willing to come, but if they're not, What do you think? What would be your advice to that situation?
Yeah, no, I agree with you that you can't change other people, even with witchcraft. So to try is you might get lucky and something looked like it worked, like
right. Even with karma being delivered,
you say you did a spell to bring him some sort of accountability, and something happened, then you might believe that worked, and I guess then maybe it did. But I don't think that we can change other people. Like Jayme said,
putting the energy into
they're all on their own journey, and I think a lot of times we have to focus on what can I do to make it better for me. What do I have to do to keep myself safe, protect myself, if you will. Yeah. And I don't know if it's like if you had to be in the same room, if it was a work person, let's say, and they were like super toxic in a work situation, you might do things like I would probably be carrying some crystals on me and
but these are ultimately things that'll make you feel better, right? You'll keep your vibration high by doing these things. Like you raise your vibration. You're not trying to affect them and bring their vibration up because they're on their own journey. But if we're carrying,
and then I think the other thing about that is that for me anyway, this is kind of like a life lesson that I've come to late in my life, and that is just how far just kindness can go, and a smile, and just politeness, and not reacting to everybody's everything in the whole wide world, because it affects me when I do that.
Yeah.
And when I can control myself, even when I'm annoyed with someone, or just like, you fucker, excuse my language. Instead of having that kind of an attitude, then just being like, blessed, have a blessed day or whatever, just ignoring them. I feel elevated from that. So I think
it's a good blocker.
I think we can elevate ourselves out of those types of situations where we want to exact revenge. We want to hold somebody accountable. Yeah. We want to try to help others who don't want help. That's a really big one for me too.
Always.
That's been a hard lesson my whole life.
You want to help the people you love. You think you know what's best for them, right?
Exactly.
You see their potential.
Yeah. So I was just thinking today So I was just thinking today. So Jayme mentioned that her little sister's getting married tomorrow, and then
which is her daughter.
So there's my son, who's oldest, and then Jamie's in the middle, and then Jolene. And so the bookends, John and Jolene, they were my children that struggled a lot. They were really rebellious like me, and they were super wild. Well, she's getting married tomorrow, and he just earned his PhD, his doctorate.
He's a doctor.
He's now a doctor.
Doctor.
So I was just thinking today how, wow, they both I'm going to say problem children. the ones that sort of
late
like
bloomers.
they were kind of reckless and crazy.
Thorny roses.
But they both it happened at the same time. I just thought that can't be a coincidence.
And
they're not the same age; they're 8 years apart.
At midsummer, I mean,
yeah.
It's all during the week. Of
I just feel
midsummer.
like there's another, I don't know. I don't feel like it's a coincidence.
I think that our family, since moving, we were all here in Florida now. What, 3 years? How long?
3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
3 years. The whole family's been together. I've been here longer, and Jolene's been here longer. Kat's
the whole family's 4 plus kids, plus 3 kids.
Yeah. All 4 of us and the children. But since coming here and reuniting after many years apart, we've also worked through a lot of our family stuff. When you're younger, there's always family stuff. And the way that we've grown just from that and held ourselves accountable for the stuff that we did, there's been real growth with that. And so it's allowed us to shut those things down and move on to something bigger and better. I mean, my brother's been working on his doctorate for like many, many, many years.
Yeah.
So we can't attribute it all to this, but
no,
it happened while he was here with family all around instead of him being, 6 states away doing something.
No, he started going to college when it was the one time that I can remember that one of my kids listened to me and did what I said. He told me he wanted to be a plant manager. We worked at the same company and he was going to go for the plant manager job. And I told him, absolutely not. You will not make any money and you'll have to work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They don't pay shit. And he listened to me. And he instead went and enrolled in a community college and started his path to
his college journey.
His college journey, whole college journey. He just started with like 2 years.
So my husband asked me, he's like, so when did your brother decide to do this? I was like, well, basically he got his AA and was like, well, I did that. What else can I do? Then he got his bachelor's and he's like, well, I did that. I bet I could get my master's. Then he did that and he was like, might as well go for the doctorate. And he just didn't stop. And I love that. I'm like, he just kept going.
Yeah.
He did admit to me one time that it was a lot easier to be in school and not pay back the student loans also. So it was like, deferment. There you go. It just you don't have to start paying it on it until you're actually done with school.
But now I wonder, what's his next career move? Because he's going to be making bank. I'm going to tell him I want that luxury granny pod in the back of their new $1 million house that I know they're going to buy in a couple of years. So, and I think that's it. So
I think that's it for us.
Yeah.
There were 4 topics. We want to, the focus is steer clear of fear if you can. Pick and choose your beliefs. It's your practice. Don't let anybody else run it for you.
Clear of fear.
Yeah.
And start thinking a different way.
Yep.
Working on that.
You can decide how you think and feel. That's one of the secrets that nobody ever tells you when you're younger. You get to decide how you think and feel. You think you're always fighting for it or you're trying to fit in somewhere, but don't worry about that. Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah, that's
all right.
it.
Well, thank you. And
thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, we really wanted to wrap this up in 30 minutes for you.
Yes.
And we've done it. Yay.
And now it'll be 8 days till you see us. We will be back next Thursday for another A Witch Reacts. And if you guys have
episode 3
that you want us to react to, you can send us an email. You could post it on the YouTube channel, whatever you want to do. Leave it in the comments after this video is done. We would love to hear from you and see what you're thinking
or what thing have you heard out there?
Dealt with, whatever it is. We promise not to laugh too much, but all right, you guys, we hope you have a wonderful week and we will see you next week. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Tracy.
Bye, Tracy.